Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Mr. D. Apparo Reddy, working as scientific assistant in this department. So, first of all, I would like to thank our respected director, Madam Nagaratna Garu, for giving me this opportunity. And also, I thank our director, Sir Dharmaraj Garu and Shravani Madam Garu, for giving their valuable inputs for the presentation of this lecture. And I also thank my colleagues, my friends, for their supporting role for delivering this lecture. And thank once again for these all our officers. And today, actually, I would like to give some information regarding the type of observations we carried out, especially the for forecasters. The observations we carried out plays very major role. These observations are basically of two categories. These observations are basically of two categories. The first type is upper air observations, and the second type observations are surface observations. And in upper air observations, we carry out the observations again in two ways. One observation is after releasing the balloon, which is filled with hydrogen gas, we track the balloon by using radar. The radar is placed at ground level. And the second type of observation is we release the balloon, which is again filled with hydrogen gas, but we track the balloon manually by using theodolite. First, we will discuss about the weather observation, upper air observation, how we track the balloon by using radar and all. So first, we take a balloon of higher capacity, which can carry out very easily near about 1100 to 1200 grams balloon. And to that balloon, we tie, that balloon is first of all filled with hydrogen gas. Since the hydrogen gas is very much lighter than air, and to the other end of the balloon, we tie an instrument. That instrument, meteorological instrument, which carries out some sensors. The sensors are thermistors, which gives the information regarding the temperature at that particular level. The thermistor is made of the material like titanium oxide, and the second sensor is which provides information regarding the humidity present at that particular level. That is called a hygroscope, which is a carbon coated glass slide. And the next sensor is pressure sensor. The pressure sensor will be placed in the form of a capsule, which is called Android capsule. So the main principle of working this Android capsule is very simple. It contracts and expands whenever there is an increase and decrease of pressure in the upper level. And besides these sensors, even we get wind direction and wind speed at different levels. So if we observe the instrument, meteorological instrument, which we tie to the balloon, you can see the balloon very clearly in the picture. So that balloon is filled with hydrogen gas, and to the one end of the balloon at the lower end, the instrument is also tied there. And that instrument, besides these sensors, it will have a GPS receiver, an antenna, etc. These GPS receiver and antenna, they will send the information at various levels in the upper air and sends the information to the ground level equipment, where we receive the information regarding the parameters like temperature, humidity, wind direction, wind speed, and all. And after receiving the raw data, we plot these parameters like dry bulb temperature, dew point temperature, wet bulb temperature, and all. And after receiving the raw data, we plot these parameters like dry bulb temperature, dew point temperature, wet bulb temperature, and all. And after receiving the raw data, we plot these parameters like dry bulb temperature, dew point temperature, all on a graph sheet like paper, which is called a T5 gram. So by plotting all these parameters in the T5 gram, one can very easily analyze the weather existing on that particular station. So the local forecast for issuing the local forecast, this type of T5 gram method analysis is highly useful. So the next method of tracking the balloon is we release the balloon of little lower capacity, like it can carry out very easily 300 grams. It can lift very easily 300 grams, and that balloon will be filled with same hydrogen gas because of the reason as I said earlier. And to the balloon, a 100-meter tail is tied. To the other end of the tail thread, we tie a paper-made flag. It is maybe in white color or red color. Depending upon the cloud condition, we place the flag, and we follow the flag by using an instrument called theodolite. Theodolite is such an instrument which gives the horizontal and the vertical angles of the balloon at that particular point. We note the readings regularly at 2 minutes interval, and after obtaining all the data, after proper computation, we take out wind direction and wind speed from the data at different levels. The only disadvantage of this theodolite is we don't get relative humidity or temperature at the particular level. We get only wind direction and wind speed. And to further extent, if any presence of maximum wind is there, that maximum wind also can be calculated by using this. So this is about the type of observation, second type of observation. And coming to the main, another class of observation in this meteorological weather forecasting system is surface observation. So surface observation means generally we, in our mind, only we get temperature, the parameters like temperature, humidity, rainfall, atmospheric pressure, wind direction, wind speed, clouds, the types of cloud, and evaporation, etc., etc. All these parameters play one of the major roles in surface observation. These surface observations we carry out 8 times during a day at an interval of 3 hours. So, and out of all these observations, more importantly, at 8:30 in the morning and 17:30 hours, we report minimum temperatures and maximum temperatures respectively every day. And in the remaining observations, we report the instantaneous temperature and humidity, wind direction, wind speed, cloud, and etc. And the most important and key parameter of our observation is pressure. So as you know, pressure means the force exerted by the air on the unit surface area of the mercury column. So based on this principle, the instrument works. That instrument is called as barometer. So barometer is the instrument with which we can calculate pressure. We have different types of pressure. We have different types of instruments like skew pattern barometer, which is also called as Cistern barometer or mercury barometer. And the next type of barometer is Android barometer. And of course, we have nowadays latest improvements and digital barometers. So and all. Now, in our department, we generally use this mercury barometer. Mercury barometer is more or less, it is immovable. It is fixed to a wall. And in this mercury barometer, of course, it is filled with mercury. And the mercury column, we take the readings. The procedure is very simple. With magnifying glass, we measure the reading. And to that reading, we add all the temperature, room temperature correction, and we add gravity correction and index correction, and we take out the pressure reading, which is called station level pressure. And also by adding the index correction, we get mean sea level pressure. And these pressures, when we pass on to our office, our forecasters, after plotting all these pressures on the India map, they will analyze it and they will give the forecast. So this is one of the important tools of our forecast is pressure. And the in the picture now, what you are observing is Android barometer. It is also one type of barometer, especially in our department. This is used in aviation purpose. And here the procedure is very simple. First, we will read the position of the needle, which is mounted on the dial. And by applying the required corrections and all, we will take out the pressure. And this type of Android barometer is very easy to carry from one place to another. And its principle is again same. It depends upon the capsule that expands or contracts depending upon the atmospheric pressure. And this is the latest digital barometer. Then and there we will get the pressure at that station, and the display can be seen very clearly on the screen. And the observation is procedure is just very simple. That we have to note down the pressure values there. And here also we will have some sensors in the instrument. So same on the principle, same principle of expansion and contraction, it works. This is called one of the modified and newly invented system, especially in our department. It carries out when they go for inspection tours and all. Okay, so that is our, and this here, the instrument what we are watching is barograph. Whatever the pressure we are measuring, that is manually through the instrument, mercury barometer. Now the same we can observe even on the barograph also. One cylindrical drum is there. To that cylindrical drum, chart will be mounted. That chart will be changed every day at 8:30 in the morning. And to that, in that instrument, it contains one bimetallic strip also. So the bimetallic strip, according to the existing weather conditions, it shows response, and the reading automatically it will be recorded on the chart where the drum rotates in a clockwise direction. And before that, the drum contains inside a clock which we give key every once in a week, and continuously the drum rotates in a clockwise direction, and parallelly the pen arm, it records its pressure value, and the instant pressure value also we can pick out from the chart. So this is about the barograph. And the most important parameter of our surface observation is temperatures. So we have temperatures, we have different types of temperatures, like dry bulb temperature, wet bulb temperature, and dew point we will have, and the maximum thermometer temperature and the minimum thermometer temperature. So of all these, the first important thing is dry bulb thermometer temperature. It measures the temperature of dry air. The most underlined word is dry air. Why we are using dry air means, here the what you call here the thermometers, dry bulb thermometer, and all the thermometers, they are placed in an enclave, in an enclave made of wood. So as you can see in the diagram, it is called Stevenson screen. In that Stevenson screen, all these thermometers are placed in such a way that the Stevenson screen faces exactly north. The simple reason is, if it is exposed to east-west direction, the direct fall of sun rays may give faulty readings. So that is the reason why, to avoid the direct impact of sun rays on the instruments, the Stevenson screen is placed facing north, in the north direction. Okay. The second important thing is, when the because it is made of wood, all the wooden planks, in between the wooden planks, we can observe gaps. Through the gaps, the dry air enters into the enclave. There, the complete dry air rotates in the enclave. So that temperature because we are measuring that temperature by using the thermometer, we are calling it as dry air temperature. So this is the procedure how we calculate dry air temperature. and also wet bulb temperature also we calculate there. So in the enclave, the thermometers will be like this. The extreme left side one is dry bulb thermometer. The extreme right side vertical position one is wet bulb thermometer. The reason for wet bulb thermometer it is because the bulb of the thermometer is always kept in wet condition, and the horizontal one in the upper one is indicates maximum thermometer, and the lower horizontal one is indicates minimum thermometer. And here in dry bulb thermometer we use mercury. In the bulb it is filled with mercury. So because the mercury shows instant response when it is exposed to external conditions, and it contracts or expands. If the temperature increases, automatically it expands, and when the temperature decreases, it contracts. So based on that expansion and contraction, we can easily identify the reading in the dry bulb thermometer. So this is the procedure how we measure dry air temperature. And with the combination of dry air temperature and wet bulb temperature, we take out dew point temperature and relative humidity. You know very well, relative humidity is the quantity of water vapor present in the air or atmosphere. So both relative humidity and dew point temperature will be carried out by using the hygrometric tables which are provided by our department. And we carry out these temperature values, and the same temperature values can be seen here with thermograph also. Whatever the temperature reading in dry bulb thermometer, that temperature can be seen even in thermograph also. The simple reason is, in this thermograph, the same the structure is like barograph only, cylindrical drum, and a chart is mounted to that cylindrical drum, and it is again calibrated. The chart is calibrated in hours, and also in degree Celsius. And the main important part of this thermograph is bimetallic strip. That pen arm, it is made of bimetallic strip. The meaning of bimetallic, bi means two. So it is a combination of two metals made of invar and bronze. It is made of invar and bronze. So the purpose of using this bimetallic strip is it shows the immediate response to the external conditions of the weather. So that is the reason why if there is an increase in the temperature, automatically the pen arm goes in the upward direction. When there is a decrease in the temperature, automatically the pen arm comes down. So as you can see the chart very clearly in the thermograph, first there is an increase, and the increasing time is also around 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock, 13 hours, 14 hours, and like that. And gradually it is showing a decrease. So this is highly useful thermograph. It is one of the instruments we use. And every 24 hours, we change that chart also. And the next parameter is relative humidity. So as I said, relative humidity we calculate by taking the combination of dry bulb temperature and wet bulb temperature. And here, the instrument we use to calculate the relative humidity is hygrograph. In this hygrograph, it is not calculating. The hygrograph, we can clearly observe the reading. We can clearly see the reading of this relative humidity. And this relative humidity, same the hygrograph instrument is again the same structure with a cylindrical drum, and again inside the cylindrical drum you will have a clock. That clock is always it will be in running condition. Once in a week we give a key, and a chart is mounted. The chart is also calibrated in hours, and every day at 8:30 in the morning we change the charts. And even the tendency of this hygrograph, this relative humidity, is also same. When the temperature is increasing, automatically there is a decrease in the humidity, and when the temperature is decreasing, So there will be an increase in the humidity. Both are inversely related to one another. And this is about the hygrograph. And the next one is calculation of precipitation. Precipitation means it can be rain or it can be snowfall. We cannot say only it is rain. So all in all, we call it as precipitation. So here to calculate the precipitation, we use rain gauge. So the rain gauge which we are seeing in the picture, it is ordinary rain gauge, or we can say it is manual rain gauge, because the quantity, the precipitation what we received, we calculate manually. We calculate manually by using a measuring jar. You, on the right side picture, we can see very clearly the measuring jar placed there. That measuring jar will be calibrated in millimeters. So the quantity of water, rainwater received, filled in that measuring jar, so that will be treated as the rain recorded at that place, because rainfall is equal to the height of the water column over a surface area, and that is actually volume. That volume, the basic formula of volume is area into height. So area means here area of the aperture, and height means height of the water column. So the units of measuring this rainfall is again millimeters, or even in centimeters also we can measure. This is ordinary rain gauge. And also we have self-recording rain gauge. This is also used to measure the precipitation, but here this is self-recording. Self-recording means automatically it records by itself. When there is a precipitation, it enters into this, and inside the rain gauge we have a chamber here. The chamber is of the capacity of 10 millimeter. You can see in the picture, right side picture, very clearly. The capacity of the chamber is 10 millimeter. When the rainwater enters into this pipe, it enters into this chamber, and automatically in the chamber we have a pen. The base of the pen is again connected to a plastic material. The property of the plastic material is it is easily floats on the water. So when the water is filling in the chamber, so slowly the pen arm raises, and we can see the readings clearly. When the pen arm raises, you can see the chart here. So there is an increase. So gradually it records like this. Once it is fully completely 10 millimeter, it comes down. That means complete water will come out from this chamber, and again slowly the rainwater enters. Again after completing 10 millimeter, it again the water will come through its outlet. So likewise the rain can be recorded here automatically. So that is the reason why we call this as self-recording rain gauge. And the units is of course millimeters. Okay. And the next parameter what we measure in while doing the surface observation is wind. Wind means we need to discuss two factors related to wind. One is wind direction, and the second one is wind speed. So wind direction, it can be measured. Wind speed, it can be measured by using the anemometer. In the picture left side, we are able to see this anemometer. It consists of 3 cups. It is called cup type anemometer. So here the rectangular box is there. In the rectangular box, we are provided with some readings here. So now here, first at the time of observation, we note the reading, and after an interval of 3 minutes, again we take the second reading. So the difference between the second reading and the first reading will give the wind speed in knots, or wind speed here in kmph. So here, how we can define this wind speed is the distance traveled by the wind in 3 minutes. In simple words, we can call it as, we can say that the distance traveled by the wind in 3 minutes, that is divided accordingly. So in that way we get wind speed. That wind speed we get in MPS, meters per second. That meters per second is again converted into knots. That is 1 knot is equal to 1.98 1.98 knots. 1 MPS is equal to. So based on the conversion, we convert it into knots and we report in the observation. And the other type of instrument to measure the wind speed is cup generator anemometer. So, but presently we use in our department, in the majority of the stations, we use this cup type anemometer here. And the next one is to know the wind direction. Previously, with the help of anemometer, we calculated wind speed. Now, with the help of this instrument, which is called wind vane, so we will know the wind direction. So this wind wave is only to measure the wind direction. It is consisting of a horizontal aluminum arm with fin at one end and the counterweight at the other end. So this is the fin. This one is the fin. We can see in the picture very clearly. And the left side we have counterweight. So here wind direction, it shows the wind direction. The meaning of wind direction is the direction from where the station is receiving the wind. If suppose if I say the wind is easterly, the simple meaning is from the east direction the station is receiving the wind and the flow of wind is towards west. That means the wind direction we take only the direction from where the wind is received by our station. So that is wind direction. And this ranges from 0 to 359 degrees. 0 to 359 degrees, and the standard levels of reporting the wind directions are provided with our office. So we use only those codes while reporting the wind. And the same wind can be even here while calculating wind direction and wind speed. Sometimes in the bad weather, we see sudden rise of wind and we see some continuous heavy winds. All these winds are also can be easily identified when we use an instrument called DPT anemograph, that is Dyne's pressure tube. So this is the instrument, one of the beautiful instruments our department is having. So in here, the sudden rise of wind, that is called as actually squall. For noting that sudden rise of wind as a squall, we have some different priorities. So if the wind attains some 3 stages to that lower speed, we call it as sudden rise of wind, that is called squall. And we have gale winds. Gale winds means continuous heavy winds, that is called gale winds. All these can be recorded on with the help of this DPT, which is called Dyne's pressure tube. And this purely works on the principle of this pressure applied by the air. And the next instrument of the next parameter in our observation is sunshine. And every day we find bright sunshine. And sunshine and bright sunshine, we have a lot of difference. So bright sunshine means the sun rays which are exactly focuses on the convex lens, and it very neatly it burns the chart, sunshine chart, which is placed in the sunshine recorder. As you can see in the picture very clearly, we have sunshine chart, and the sunshine chart is very clearly burnt by using this instrument, sunshine recorder. This is one spherical shaped, it is a spherical shaped prism like glass through the, and it acts as a convex lens, and the sun rays, and after passing through the prism, the spherical prism convex lens, it burns the chart which is placed at the bottom of this prism in the groove. And we have different types of cards depending upon the season, depending upon the months, we use different shaped cards. And that cards also we have different types here. And after taking out this chart, we calculate the total complete hours, right, starting from this this hour, and this is calibrated into hours and hours only, and each line indicates 1 hour. So likewise, we calculate the number of hours of bright sunshine during a day, and every day we use one chart, one sunshine chart here. And we report again, we note all these bright sunshine hours also in our observation. And summing up all these observations, right from temperature, pressure, humidity, dew point, rainfall, sunshine record, and everything. So we note all these observations, and we pass on, we prepare a message in the coded form, and we pass on all this message to the office, our regional office, and the office at the national level, Delhi. And there they will receive the data, and whatever the data we passed, all these data will be plotted on the India map. And the our meteorologists who are there, the forecasters, they will analyze the data very clearly, and they will issue the forecast. And in this way, our these observations, like surface observation and upper air observations, they are useful in predicting the weather for the next 24 hours, or for the next 7 days, or next 1 month, so like that. And this is the way we take our observations. And still, if you have any doubts, you can ask. Right now I am available here. So I thank all my officers for giving this opportunity. I thank once again. Thank you very much. Uh, ready now, madam.
Okay, questions.
ఎవరు రాలేదు.